you might have a situation where used cars and trucks may go down in price for a month or two, or maybe even longer. Why? It's because people are getting so poor that they cannot afford used cars because they need to buy food, and the price of food is going higher and higher and higher, faster and faster. This is a hyperinflation. Hey guys, Rafi here from the End Game Investor, and it's Passover, so I took a few days off from making videos, but it's time to catch up. Today, I'm going to discuss why inflation has not peaked, despite what the statistics might say, and that is for a very simple reason. We're going to go into the main fallacy of those who think that printing money increases wealth. Basically, when you have an inflationary system, you have the cooking of books and the miscounting of actual resources. And those have to be reconciled, and they are reconciled through a bust. Talk about the crashing of the NFT market and why that really is the tip of the bubble when it comes to derivatives. What the mainstream financial news media is fawning over is the fact that in this CPI release, we have here used cars and trucks, highlighting right now. And wow, they're down 3.8% month over month, which means they're only up about 35.3% year over year. That's great. Does that mean that prices have peaked and the CPI will start to fall and then we'll go back into this boom bubble again for another 40 years? No. The answer is actually very simple as to why. If we look at food prices.
Food! I love food, and I'm really in the mood for a big corn dog, a poo-poo platter, tooting dongs, it doesn't matter.
We see specifically food at home. That is what people will buy the most of, because if they can't afford restaurants, then there is a chance that restaurant prices will go down. And we'll get to that reasoning in a second. So month over month, we see that food prices have been rising, accelerating their price gains sequentially, 0.4% month over month in December, 1% month over month in January, 1.4 and 1.5. The rate of increase keeps going higher and higher. And now we are at 10% price increases in food at home. Now, why is that important? Because if we just go to the basic logic of what is happening in a hyperinflation, people can afford less and less luxuries, and all money goes into basic necessities because that is what people have to buy and hoard first and foremost. So if people are getting poorer and they can no longer afford used cars, they will stop buying cars and they will concentrate on food. So you might have a situation where used cars and trucks may go down in price for a month or two, or maybe even longer. Why? It's because people are getting so poor that they cannot afford used cars because they need to buy food, and the price of food is going higher and higher and higher, faster and faster. This is a hyperinflation. It doesn't mean in hyperinflation the prices of certain things can't go down. The prices of, for example, potatoes, I believe, in Weimar Germany, didn't go up very fast at certain points in 1922 and 1923. Did that mean anything? No. It's just a statistical anomaly and something for geeks to understand and research. But that doesn't stop the fact that money collapsed in Weimar Germany. People could buy potatoes. Good for them. Maybe they survived for that reason, and thank God for that. But it was still hyperinflation. Now let's go to the bubble of bubbles, which I believe is the NFT market. This is an article from Zero Hedge. This is the value of Jack Dorsey's first tweet plummets 99% as NFT market craters. First sentence is all you need to read, if even that. A man who paid $2.9 million. $1
million.
Last March for an NFT of Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey's first tweet is set to lose almost everything on the digital investment. Okay, well, really, that's all I need to say about NFTs. But why are NFTs the bubble of the bubble of the bubble? When you take a derivative of spirit or a derivative of divinity or religion, it becomes more and more physical the farther away you get from the creator. With money, it's the exact opposite, but it's the same mistake the other side of the coin, so to speak. You start with gold, and then you move to a paper derivative of gold as a gold or silver receipt. Then you start inflating the paper over the gold supply. So some of the paper doesn't even represent the hard physical. And then what do? At that point, you make a derivative of the paper itself, which is bank deposits that are digitally recorded in your bank account. It could be even before computers, where your account says you have a certain amount of paper receipts for gold that don't actually represent gold. but the actual paper isn't even there, and that's what causes bank runs. So you have a deposit derivative of the paper, which is not even physical at all. And then you go down and down the derivative path into debt notes based on the paper that isn't even in your account, that doesn't even represent the gold that you're supposed to have backing it. And finally, you get to blockchains, which are a digital representation of the paper that isn't there in the account that doesn't represent gold that originally was the money.
They slaughtered the ox that drank the water, that quenched the fire, that burnt the stick, that beat the dog, that bit the cat, that ate the kid, that father, but for two zoos in.
But there's one more step. You have non-fungible tokens, which represent the blockchain, which represents the paper that isn't even there in the account, that doesn't even represent the gold that is the original money. Then you have people literally selling their farts for $2.9 million, and money becomes a total disembodied spirit in the wrong direction, but in the same derivative decay that causes idolatry itself. So if the NFT market is crumbling, we're going to start to see all the bubbles unravel until we get to the final bubble, which is the dollar itself. And from there, we return to gold and silver. Finally, the mistake that people make in trying to divide the financial system from physical reality. There is a dream, a manipulative dream, that if man can just control the financial system to make everyone think that there is more stuff in the world that actually exists, then there will be perpetual riches and Garden of Eden immortality. Financial system is simply an accounting of physical reality. We use it to divide physical reality amongst us according to how much you produce. My favorite gold analyst ever is Daniel Oliver of Mermacan Capital. He is a very wise man, and I recommend that everybody read everything that he writes. He breaks it down very simply, beginning with a biblical quote. In his mermacan.com research homepage, he says, Ecclesiastes tells us, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. In Hebrew, that is, Ma shayahu shiyeh, ma shenasahu shiyasa, ve'en kol chadash tachat hashamash. It's a play on the name of God. You can only get that from the Hebrew. In any case, the ancient Greeks discovered, he says, that debt could magnify wealth. The debtor feels richer from the use of the borrowed property, and the lender feels richer from the compounding interest yielded by his claim. Both indulge in consumption more freely. As long as the accumulating claims remain contingent, the bubble grows. But eventually, someone asks to be paid, and the expanding claims on wealth must be reconciled to tangible wealth, much of which has been consumed. It really is that simple. All financial products, all of them, all paper, all stuff that you cannot consume that is not tangible wealth, are merely claims on wealth on different levels, on different pyramidal levels. At some point, those claims on wealth are going to be called in for any tangible wealth that they can claim. And what is the result of financial derivatives being $1.5 quadrillion in a world where only a few trillion of those dollars exist, and under those dollars only a few ounces of gold exist to support it all? What it means is that all the purchasing power for the tangible wealth in the world goes down to the pyramidal base, which is gold and silver, because that itself is tangible wealth. And because it is the most liquid tangible wealth, that is what makes it the best money. And now that the NFT bubble has burst, we are now waiting for the debt bubble to burst. And that will happen when rates keep going up and up, and everyone sells their debt paper back to the Fed for any dollars they can get their hands on, for which people are going to bid for real goods and services and fast. Countries and people with a lot of real tangible wealth are going to have all the purchasing power for the remaining wealth that will be traded for it. And some find it hard to conceptualize a falling stock market with rising prices. It's actually very simple. A falling stock market means that the world's billionaires and trillionaires and multimillionaires even will see the value of their portfolios falling. And as they see that, they will sell and try to preserve what wealth they have left by plowing it into real assets, which are commodities, real estate, gold and silver, something tangible that they can see, that they can feel, that they can touch, that they can use. And that is how you have falling financial assets and rising real assets. But everyone needs real assets to survive. And so the oligarchs in charge lose much of their power. And even if they have a lot of gold and silver, which I'm sure they have, they lose their ability to inflate it. Let them be wealthy, but let them have tangible wealth that is consumed so that they can no longer lie through accounting about how much they actually have. The world's uber rich, uber wealthy are living the same lie as everyone else. Let them be subject to reality, and that lie will evaporate. This is Rafi, the Endgame Investor. If you like this video, please subscribe, please like, and if you are interested in economic biblical commentary, you can become my patron on Patreon, where you will get a weekly video on the intersection between the Bible, economics, and monetary policy. Happy Passover, and I'll see you soon.